So I am back on this Rapido SD9 project. You guys might remember that I took delivery of pre-orders of these in October 2025, and I'm going to try and put Soundtraxx Tsunami 2 in these pair of SD9s. These are late production Burlington Northern units. And I've run into a bit of a snag, and this is not completely unexpected. In the Rapido manual that comes with the Locomotive, they call out a pair of DCC decoders that will work in these things. And these are ESU decoders that they spell out. But they also spell out if you're trying to use any other brand or any other manufacturer decoder that they're not going to help you. That's not a surprise, and I'm a Soundtraxx guy, and if you want to know my reasons, buy me a beer sometime. Go ahead and see if we can get Soundtraxx stuffed in and maybe a current keeper as well.
Black Hills and Eastern Railroad, from the plains of the Sioux Empire to the heart of the hills.
The first thing we're doing here is removing the couplers. There's a screw in through the coupler pocket, as in many locomotives. And again, I've got my little yogurt cup here to catch the smalls. And then we turn the shell over and gently pull. So I got messing around with this here a little bit more, and I ended up lifting up this capacitor subboard. There's just an 8-pin connector that goes down in here, and it lifts straight up here. And these two parts are magnetic, so that tells me that those are probably speakers there. So I'm not going to mess around with tearing this apart anymore. I'm just going to lift this jumper board up and replace it with our decoder. So the next thing is just to pull this jumper plug, DC only jumper plug, straight off of those that 21-pin connector. So we are replacing this 21-pin jumper board with the Tsunami 2 from Soundtraxx. This says right here EMD-2 diesel, but there is a configuration available on here that represents the EMD 567, which the prime mover that was installed in this the SD9s and many other diesels of the period, ubiquitous 567 prime mover. So I have snapped that Tsunami board down over that 21-pin connector, and we're going to take it up to the programming track and see what we get. So here we are on JMRI Decoder Pro, and I'm just getting into opening the comprehensive programmer on this 21-pin Soundtraxx decoder. And we skip over to the basic tab and take a look at the active address. I'm setting that up to the long address and giving that 6226 as our road number is on the engine. And then moving on to other tabs. And we want to switch that prime mover effect over to EMD 567 and turn down the master volume control. And take a quick look at some of the other tabs in here in Decoder Pro on this particular decoder. These tabs will vary from decoder to decoder based on what's available on that decoder. So basic sanity check here. Pretty decent. Now we'll have to go and fiddle with the small stuff. So I'm moving on now to the installation of capacitors for Keep Alive, and I'm pointing out here, as George Bogatok did in his video, that the pin numbering starts in the upper left-hand corner as you're looking at the pins here, with that missing pin being pin 11, and then counting up to pins 16 and 20. The blue wire goes to the pin 16, and the black wire goes to pin 20, and try as I might, I could not figure out a configuration that would work with these current keepers, the Soundtraxx anyway, current keepers, first on the back end over the speakers, and then in the nose of the locomotive with that shorter stubby current keeper, also from Soundtraxx. I could not get the shell to fit down over the mechanism in that configuration. So that kind of means that for the time being, I'm not going to have a brand new SD9 without a current keeper in it. I'm going to fall back to the silent decoder mode. We'll probably get some 21-pin Digitrax decoders in here and put those in and delete the sound, at least for the time being, until we find a better way. Maybe we should have gone with the factory onboard ESU, but like I said before, I'm a Soundtraxx guy, and buy me a beer sometime for the reasons why. I don't want ESU on the roster here. Nothing against the ESU for sure, but just want to keep it consistent and keep it all within a single manufacturer inventory of sound decoders here on my roster. So before I wrap this video up, I did want to run you through a couple of things that I noticed as I was working on this engine. The first thing I noticed several weeks ago was I had this up here on the programming track more or less at eye level. I was kind of annoyed with seeing this. The contact strips, you can see you remember the Atlas C30-7s and the U33Cs. The U30Cs, you could see that brass phosphor bronze strip showing from behind the truck side frame, and that on a cheaper engine, I wouldn't hesitate to tear that apart and paint that. That should have been done from the factory. I'm sorry, that is an error by Rapido. And my friend John in the Twin Cities pointed out that the road numbering here on the long hood for Burlington Northern looks a little tall and skinny, and I'd prefer it to be maybe a little shorter and a little shorter and a little fatter, I guess, after he's mentioned that. And then the other thing that other people have mentioned is the walkway surfaces, the running board surfaces should be black. Or I guess they're not painted this way from the factory, but I guess this wasn't a factory painted BN unit. This was a Q unit that was probably red brand new, or maybe even black. There should be an anti-skid coating along the running boards here. Basically on all BN units they got that. That was something that was a non-skid material, wasn't paint that was applied. And I've heard anecdotally that was applied by a broom out of a bucket. So it wasn't necessarily neat and nice, and it didn't stay that way, of course, because of the soot and oil and crap that got on there. So it was probably turned charcoal gray the first day after the engine was treated that way. So just wanted to point that out, and that's something that I'm probably not going to fix, but it does bother me maybe just a little bit. That being said, this is an outstandingly beautiful unit, and I'm proud to have this in my roster, and that hammerhead is really cool. These will be fun to run up and down the High Line, running coal and running beer and whatever else it is that we choose to run on the High Line. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, smash that like button, subscribe for more, and hopefully I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, everybody.